still be making their way in as they bring their food for Thanksgiving dinner. And Scott and Patsy said, are you going to introduce us? Because the last church nobody did. So I figured, well, then I won't be like the last church, because I was just going to let you do your own thing. We're not like that here. We're not like that at all. Welcome. I am assuming most, if not all of you, are aware who Scott and Patsy Bueller are, so I'm not going to introduce them. We're glad that they're with us today, and they're using the Bible Discovery time to give us a deeper look into what's going on in their life and their ministry. So pray for you, and away you go. Father, bless your name for giving us this new day. Bless your name for the promises in your word that say that you are loving and compassionate and gracious and faithful. And today we want to hear about that. We want to connect with that. And we want our hearts to be knit together with these global partners. Bless Scott and Patsy as they share this time. In Jesus' name, amen. Can we give you a table for that?
No, I'll just hold it. I'm good. I'll hold the cup.
Good morning. Ooh, that's loud. Okay. So, as was already mentioned, my name is Patsy, and this is Scott. And we, just for those of you who we don't know, we have been working with Teach Beyond in Brazil now.
Formerly known as Jan's team.
Right. In Brazil now for 25 years come January. So I think we need to throw a party in January, celebrating our 25 years, and maybe possibly somebody will send us a plaque. I'm not sure, but let's see. Anyway, 25 years has flown by. Our first 9 years we spent in the most southern state of Brazil, in Rio Grande do Sul, in Gramado, at a camp called Acamp Serra, which is still running strong, and we are so proud of the leadership there. And then God called us to the state north of that, which is Santa Catarina, which is where we live, not today, but now. And we have put 16 years now into planting and founding a camp there. And so it has flown by. But what we thought we would do for you guys is give you sort of an overview of the last 7 years, which would be 3 years past land purchase, where we bought the land in 2010-11. And then in 2015 is where we're going to pick up the journey to give you just sort of a timeline of what has happened since then.
Okay, so Taryn, could you put up the, okay, so that's our symbol, that's us, Quest. And we want to just kind of give you a little bit of an idea where we're at in terms of our land. So it's hard to see a little, so the whole open area there where the pinpoint is, the little red spot, that's about maybe, I don't know, 3% of our land. That's the only open area that we have. The rest is just jungle and bush. The land runs, where that open area is, runs about 250 meters wide and a kilometer long, kind of up the ridge and up this. Anyways, it's hard to explain that all.
It looks extremely flat, but this is very, very steep land. If you've been there, it's, you know, good leg muscles.
Mark liked to run there when he was up and down. Anyway, so that's just to give you an idea where we're at. We've cleared that all out. That was all bush, and so that was the part that we did clear out. This is our entrance. This is where we go into our land, where we drive up, and there's a sign there that has a number of different mileages and different things. And there is the one sign that's pointed off, that says Saskatoon. That was just for me. But
yeah,
I don't remember how many thousands of kilometers it says on there. But
why do we have this? Because right at our entrance to our camp, we have a very famous bike route, and so there's a lot of cyclists in the area. And for those of you who have been to our land, you know that approaching our camp from either direction is extremely steep. So the cyclists have quite the challenge to get up either side. So pretty much every weekend, Saturday, Sunday mornings, Scott and I will hear, woohoo, when they hit the ridge, the cyclists. It's so funny. They celebrate up there. And so we thought, well, what can we do to be a part of the community. And so we put up a couple of natural, like wood benches there for them to rest. And then we have our water system, that's spring water. We directed it all the way down there, so there's always fresh water running for cyclists, to fill up. And it's fun because they Instagram us, and it's great. Like, it's been really good for us. Sometimes we even hang bananas, so they can grab a banana on their way down.
If the monkeys don't grab them before the
True.
cyclists do.
That's right.
This was the beginning of construction at Quest. So before this happened,
This is 2015.
yeah, we had, that whole area was full of trees. Eucalyptus mostly, that had been planted there, so not native to Brazil. So then that was what gave us the freedom to cut them down. Otherwise, if they're natural to Brazil, if they're native to Brazil, they're not allowed to be cut down legally. We'll leave it at that. Anyway, so that kind of gives you an idea of what we started with. We had that one little house on the land, which was basically used for weekends and for some hunting. That's not legal in Brazil as well, but we don't use it for that.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that, anyways, we won't go there either. So that was the start. That was about 5 days of the bulldozer and a big draught moving land just to clear out. They didn't even really do a whole lot of landscaping at the time, just basically cleaning out bush. And this is a picture of after some of the construction started. So you'll notice Mark is in that picture, and Dwayne Schultz and I are off to the left, and our son Mookie's off to the right there a little bit. But there's a set of golf clubs in there. I think Dwayne shot 5. I did 1.
Oh, okay.
I did 1, I think. But Dwayne shot 5 golf balls into the bush to see if someone would find them and bring them back. So there's only 4 left. So 2 have been found. The other 4, we don't know where they are at this point. I'm not sure if they'll ever get found. But it was kind of just to give a, hey, if anybody finds a golf ball out there, you'll get a prize if you bring it in. So people are a little scared to go into the jungle to find them. But anyways, so that's the plateau of where our bathrooms are today.
Which would be our second story.
Yeah. This was the start of construction. So Mark, you were there for this, right? At this point. And all of those forms and all of that concrete that's already been poured there was all done by hand. And the concrete that was poured was mixed by hand. And the power that we used at the time was off of a generator. So good thing the fuel prices were a little bit lower at the time, because it was a lot of gas that we used going from there. And then that was before things started to get closed in, so that was kind of just the skeleton of our main building called the Panapana.
Yeah. So then we started doing some landscaping, and
one more. That was just
sorry. Go ahead.
Mark was there for that too, weren't you? This part. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did that with Dwayne. So then we started doing some landscaping. So this here is, I think, with the different shades of green, you'll be able to see that there are 3 plateaus. Our plan initially was to have 2 plateaus, but you see the rock, which is what we refer to it as, the rock. That rock was not moving. Either we were dynamiting or we were having 3 plateaus. So we now have 3 plateaus. The bottom one that's closest to us on the screen is a soccer field, which is now completely fenced in. The kids got really tired of running down the hill to get the ball, and so we decided very quickly that was a necessity. So we have like 7-meter high fence around the edge, which is great. Middle plateau we use for games like ladder ball, tether ball, 9 square, these kind of games that we set up whenever we want to use them. And then the top plateau is a plateau that we use for tent setup. We have no cabins built at this point yet. In our main building, we do have 4 bedrooms, and in our second building, which is Camp Sam, we'll show you in a bit, there's also 4 bedrooms. But during summer camp, our campers still stay in tents. And so that top plateau is where all our boys' tents are. So 5 to 6 tents, and our tents are Coleman tents, actually, from Canadian Tire.
Yeah, thank you for all of those that have brought tents down when you have come.
Yes, yeah. So we have tents that are like 3.5 meters by 4 and a bit meters, which is great, and they're fully stand-up tents, and so we can have 6 people one counselor and 5 campers per tent. Okay, so the next picture is a view from our building, already completely finished. So that's our parking lot. We have set it up in a way that cars can also park all the way down the road. But we thought maybe our parking lot would be small for the camp, but it's worked out really quite well. And nobody's actually driven off the end of that, so that's
almost.
Good. I know.
Almost.
I know. Actually, a recent picture that our team sent us last week, they've now put a beautiful big rock in the front corner because I guess somebody went over there. So we're trying to protect it as best we can. Anyway, that's a view from our main building. To the left is another amazing view into the valley where you can see Schrader, which is the town that our camp belongs to, I guess, the municipality. And it is a very stunning view from the building. Well, this was an amazing story because during COVID, we had time to do projects that normally we wouldn't have time for as the building was closed down. And one of the things that has been the most costly for us to maintain is our road.
Well, I remember when NCF brought a team down, and we celebrated just because we could drive up to where that little house is that we showed you there.
NCF or Dalmeny?
Oh, sorry, Dalmeny, DBC.
Yeah.
So you guys were there.
I think it was the first team that was there, and we finally got a truck.
We got a truck up there with material, and we celebrated. Oh my goodness! I think we may have done a churrasco that night.
And maybe. But anyway, so we have put a lot of money into maintaining this road. So we decided that we would concrete part of it. So we concreted about 200 feet of it at the most steep section. And it has made Scott's life a lot easier, but it has made a world of a difference, even for people feeling comfortable driving up, and it just looks cleaned up and taken care of. So that was a big project, also done by hand, all the concrete. And then this is just a nice picture of the upper plateau where the tents go. I don't know if you can see, but we do have concrete bases for our tents there. And we've also been using it as our fireside area. So the 2 logs in the center of the picture that you see meeting one another, that's where most of our campers sit on. And then it looks so tiny on that picture. It's so big and real. But that's been our area for firesides as well.
And that's a picture of what we saw as the skeleton of the building before. That's basically the finished building. We call it the Pana. And that is, our main lodge, main building where we have, like Patsy said, we have 4 bedrooms, and we have our bathrooms, our chapel, our dining hall, and our kitchen is all located in that one building.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a bit of an idea. Inside now, we can take a look. This is our chapel area. Mm-hmm. So the bathrooms on either side. We have a bit of a storage area in the middle, a stage. And our chapel seats comfortably about 120 people inside. Now, that goes out onto a big deck. So normally our temperatures, maybe for about 5 days of the year, we can't sit outside, but most of the time we can. And so we can extend that to easily 150, 170 people that are sitting. Yeah. For that. Picture of our kitchen. We set this kitchen up after a trip to different camps when we were itinerant completely. So we would go all over the place to do retreats, and we were put up in so many different places. And so taking good things and discarding bad things from other places, we set up our kitchen. And this is a group that is now coming 3 times a year to Quest. The cooks, the reason they come is because the cooks say, we don't want to cook at any other place because we love this kitchen so much. It's so well set up and it's so functional. And so that was a good thing that we...
One of the most amazing things as I look at this picture, I realize, like, Scott and I know pretty much everything in that building so well. But if you look at that picture, pretty much everything that's in there was a donation. And I can, this is going to be lost once we as founders head off, but we can pretty much name who's given what to put that kitchen together, and it's pretty amazing for me to see how that came together.
This is our dish pit, which at this point did not have hot water, but now we do have hot water at our dish pit. So that's maybe a little odd for Canadians to think they didn't have hot water, but that's fairly normal for us there. And then that's just been amazing too, that whole system. And just talking about what's been donated, so the granite on like the countertop here in the dish pit, in our upper bathrooms as well, all the granite there was donated by a family, actually an engineer, civil engineer, who has a contract with the McDonald's, all the McDonald's restaurants south of Rio. And so when she has to do renos and even new construction, she has leftover, or she has to replace, take out the countertops and put new ones in, and she has to find a place to put them. And so we were gifted a whole bunch of granite countertops, which saved us thousands of dollars. And it doesn't smell like French fries, but sometimes it sure would be nice if it did. You could, And this is a picture of the back of the chapel and these doors that we have put in just this year. A God faithful story for us on these doors. We had a meeting on a Tuesday. We always have our weekly meetings on Tuesday because often working the weekends, Monday is our day off, kind of like pastors. I mean, I think pastors have days off, but maybe they don't. Anyways, so Tuesdays we have our meetings, and we were talking about, okay, we need to have doors in the back of our chapel. The wind that blows in and it makes it dirty. It's chilly sometimes when it's wintertime.
The worst is the bats.
And the bats. And having to clean up
after the bats.
Anyways, so Tuesday we had a meeting, and we asked one of our interns, can you get a price on what these windows would cost us to put in? And so she did. She came up with a price of 22,000 reais. I thought, oh my goodness, that's a fair bit of cash for us. So right after that, we had just, with Teach Beyond, we had just received a new platform to check out giving and our accounts and all of these things. And I didn't know that Quest had an account in the States with Teach Beyond. Well, I know that we personally do, but I didn't know that Quest did. And I found the Quest US account. And there was 4,300 American dollars in there. Where did that come from? I had no idea. So we found out that a couple had been donating since 2016, not on a regular basis, but periodically, and we had accumulated 4,300 American dollars, which converted comes out to 22,000 reais. So on Thursday, we ordered the doors. And so that's just a God-faithful story for us. And this is just one more picture of a night picture from outside on the veranda looking into the chapel.
Yeah, the nice thing about these doors is because it's so beautiful there, and most of the year we can use all the space. And so we really wanted something that could open up, almost all the way. And they run on tracks. They're just amazing, amazing doors. So we're so grateful for them.
And we did start off, our bathrooms were very simple. Office dividers that they have in offices that can be taken down, put up. That's what we had in our bathrooms for a little while because that was what we could afford at the time. Yeah. And we soon realized that wasn't the best thing. And then God provided in a special way too. Someone made a donation, and we were able to put up glass and aluminum dividers, which are awesome cleaning, and they look so much nicer.
Yeah. So this is our veranda. This is sort of our games room here. So we have like table tennis set up. We have, which you can imagine how many table tennis balls we run after. It's so.
After summer camp, off the edge, I think I found 23 ping pong balls down in the bush.
Yeah. Which we were really fortunate because our oldest son loves to do experiments, and he had bought a box of 400 ping pong balls. And he got tired of his experiment, and so he sent the rest to Quest. So we don't care too much when a ball goes over the edge. But anyway, so we have our ping pong table. We have carpet balls set up and cornhole set up here. And I'm telling you, it's just constant movement. And
it's a great place when it rains. We do our firesides up here. We have an old wheelbarrow that we put out in the middle, and we have our firesides outside, out of the rain.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, this is our second building, which we are so grateful for. We realized very quickly that to have our LIT or CIT program in summer camp, which we call Camp Sam, was going to be next to impossible without their own building. The first year we used the office building. It was very tight, and we just said, no, by the next year, we need to have a building up. And so we purchased the skeleton of an old galpon, of a gold...
Like a big barn.
Like a barn type thing, just beautiful big logs. And we're like, if we could just set up the skeleton with that and put up the walls. And so our...
we'd call him our general contractor. He does everything, carpentry, brickwork. He does pretty much anything we need him to do. And so it was his brother-in-law that had this barn for sale. We bought it. He had taken it apart. We picked it up, brought it. He put it all back together.
Yeah, for us here. But this building cost about 35,000 reais, and we hadn't had much time to fundraise. And so we were like, how are we going to get this finished by summer camp? And our church in Brazil decided to lend us the money. So they lent us the money to finish up the building. And I'm telling you, as the campers were arriving, the day the campers were arriving in this building, one of our board members was still installing the last toilet. So just to give you an idea of how that was really nip and tuck. But we got it up. It was not painted at the time. Since then, we've been able to close it all up, paint it. It's beautiful. There's a picture on the inside too, I think, Scott. So there's 4 bedrooms, there's bathrooms, and now on the outside we've added 2 more bathrooms with showers and a laundry room to this building. So it's really a complete thing. As you can see, we put glass in the back just to get a lot of natural light into there. And this is a building that has been very, very well used. Now, the beautiful thing about the $35,000 that they lent to us as our church, at the end they just said, you know what, forget it. And it was just... wonderful.
We were able to pay off $10,000.
That's right.
With we thought, okay, well, we'll have program and all of this stuff will be happening, and there's always a little bit extra, not always, but sometimes there is. And then COVID hit, and it was like, how are we going to pay this off? And so we went and sat down with the church leadership, and we said, can you please give us some grace period? And they said, hold on. Don't even bother. Just let us think about it. And then we had some stuff going on, and we went back to pay another 5,000 reais to the church, and our church secretary said, no, hold on here. There's been some talk going on, so don't pay us yet. And then they came back and they said, no, we're going to forgive the rest of it. Just God bless you. We've been blessed as a church, and so we want to bless you. Yeah. And that was just amazing.
Pretty amazing for us. So yeah, that is the Camp Sam building.
And continuing on, this is our tiny house that we were able to build 2019, 20, I don't remember, 18. Anyway, so many things going on. But God has blessed us with the ability to build this house on the land. And it's 420 square feet, and we just love it. As
you can see, my laundry room is outside. I'm glad you chose a picture with my laundry hanging there. That's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. That's just where you hang your laundry. Your laundry room's around the back. Anyway, so that's a picture of our home. We do have a small covered and screened-in deck in the back, and we just enjoy sitting out there a lot of the times, do our morning devotions, and just to hear the wildlife and the nature outside. And that sign that says, welcome to the jungle, that is... I haven't found a way yet to set up a doorbell that plays the Guns N' Roses song, Welcome to the Jungle, but I want to do that yet. Just that part where it says, Welcome to the Jungle. Kind of gives somebody an eye-opener. And then we were able to move a container in, which is our workshop and our program area storage. And that's a whole story in itself, getting a container up a hill like this.
Yes.
But so we were able to put that beside this building, which is our office. And at this point, it didn't have a roof on it, but we were able to put a roof on it, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea now. So we have a garage and a covered area to work when it rains.
Yes. So just to give you an idea, guys, this is what it looked like the first year we had our marriage retreat, which is 20 couples tenting. Let's just say we praised the Lord that it did not rain that weekend, because you can imagine the mess that would have been had it rained. It was just recently landscaped, so much so that on the day that these people left, on the Sunday, one of our board members was still at the camp with us cleaning up, and the
Department of Natural Resources.
Yeah, the Department of Natural Resources came up in a truck, 4 men fully armed, and they came because somebody had reported that we had been landscaping, and in a rural area that is not like well looked on. And so they came, they wanted to make sure that we were not messing with any of the natural springs. So Scott took them up, showed them what we had done, and they signed off on it, said no problem, as long as we didn't build on the plateaus, which was not our idea. Anyway, so it was all good. But that was like the crazy start to it. Now
it was a little scary when these guys drove up and 4 guys come out, and they all, one guy had a shotgun and the rest of them had sidearms, and they're starting asking questions. It's like, and we're out in the jungle in the middle of nowhere. No one would have known anything. So
yeah, it was a little intimidating, but it was all good. But then the next picture shows what they camp on today. So now they have concrete bases, they have posts that they can put their tarps up on. We still do our marriage retreats all in tents, so there's always 20 couples in tents, and it's absolutely amazing to see the progress. What we like to do at Quest is every year we like to do something that's new. So every time someone comes to a retreat, they'll see some sort of progress. When we first,
not necessarily like every year, so not like from 1 month to the next.
Right,
but
right. So when we started the camp, we sat down and we got a lot of advice from Thomas Schneider, is his name. He's a Brazilian man that started a camp probably about 20 years before us. And so we went to him for a lot of counsel at the beginning. And one of the things he said to us, he said, don't build your camp like perfectly beautifully and then invite people. He said, start with what you've got. You know, we started our first men's retreat on our land. There was 1 bathroom stall. There was 1 shower, and it was like our livre. It was like
I mean, open air. You
open
could see
air.
the moon as you showered. That was
And I tell you, the men
the moon
love,
up there. The moon up there.
the men love telling stories about that first retreat. We called it Wild at Heart, so we just really went with the theme. It was great. But, you know, for them now to come and see the buildings where they're at, every year they pull up and they're just like, wow. And that's, I mean, we understand that at some point our infrastructure will be to the point where it won't be a wow every year. But we try to have some little detail that's improved so that people can see that we're moving forward.
And as we move forward, this is a picture that I just took off Google Images, but I thought it gave a good idea of where we're at. When we started Quest, it was nothing. Like we didn't even have land, and we've just seen so much growth. So growth, like in terms of actual growth, in terms of strategy, in terms of finances, in terms of our team, in terms of our network, everything has just grown, and we've just been so blessed by that. And with that, I mean, us as well, Patsy and I, are transitioning out. This is our last, I'll use the word furlough, or home assignment, because when we come back in just over 2 years, we're coming back. And we are no longer going to be full-time with Quest. And so this transition and seeing this growth is where we are today. The maturity of everything. Our board, who for so long just kind of relied on us as a team because we were doing okay and they could trust us, and now they see that, okay, we have some newer people. Not that they can't trust the people that are there, but they need to get to know them. And so our board involvement has been much more hands-on, and it's been just great to see everything growing in that regard.
One of the things, yesterday I was chatting with Carol, who's a part of our team, and we were reminiscing about our first camp season. We literally had a church from, I think it was Russell, Manitoba, that donated $4,000 so that we could run a camp season, because we couldn't find anyone that would pay for a camp. They didn't even know what camp was. To them, it was like an American movie. Like, one of the mothers dropped the kids off the first week of camp, and she said, I feel like I'm in a movie. And I'm like, okay, that's really weird. But that's their idea of camp. And so we've grown a whole camp culture there. And we were reminiscing about the fact we had 19 campers in 2 weeks of camp the first year we ran camp. And we literally, I don't know if more than 5 of them paid their camp. Like, we literally just invited people, begged them to come, basically. And yesterday, Carol was telling me that they just opened up our sign up for our camp now in summer. We can.
So our summer camp starts, I think it's going to be on the 10th of January.
We can have a total of 181 campers, and we already have 106 paid for and in. And it's just like
our tween camp. So we're limited to numbers somewhat because of our tents and the space that we have. So we can accept 30 kids, 30 girls and 30 boys on each, so for each camp. And our tween girls in 2 hours was full, which is, at the beginning, we waited till the last day before camp started to see if some more kids would come, because we always had space and we wanted campers. And now we have to send people away. We can't keep them because they're just signing up so fast. And
growth as far as program. The other thing, we just had a meeting on Friday at the Schultz's with our team, and one of the decisions that we are making is that there are women asking us to do our women's retreat on an annual basis. We always did it biannually, and it's like a lot of work to do that. But we made the decision because our women's retreat, our marriage retreat, we're going to be doing 2 a year starting next year as well, because they literally fill up in 24 hours. Like if you don't sign up the first day, you don't have a chance, which is amazing if we think of it. But we made the decision that we will do both our women's retreat annually, and we will do our marriage retreat 2 times every year. So it'll be the same program, just run 2 different weekends. And it just blows our mind, when we think of where we started 16 years ago. So.
Yeah. And now we're just going to kind of give you an idea of who our team is. Our team has grown. We started off as 2 families, Patsy and myself, our family, Patsy's brother Dwayne and his family, and Cuddall, she's on the bottom right there. We were the founders. And Dwayne and his family left in 2016, I think. Around there. And so it was Patsy and I and Cuddall. And we ran the show for many years. And it was just it was a lot of work and a lot of things going on. And a lot of the construction you've seen on these pictures was the 3 of us together with our general contractor guy. And it was just, and doing ministry. There were 1 year, so under full construction, working all week long, and then we had, I think, 42 weekends that we did ministry. So we had, and that didn't include summer camp. So 46 weekends out of the year that we were doing ministry, plus we were working full time. And it was the 3 of us doing it all. And I ended up in hospital for 10 days, but that's another thing.
Yeah.
So this is our team now. We have Carol and Charlize. Carol is a founder. She's married to Charlize, who's a Lutheran pastor, but has decided that the pastorate is not for him. There's too much that he doesn't really feel comfortable with in terms of the administrative part and the political part of being in a Lutheran church, anyways, in Brazil. And he loves discipleship and he loves teaching, and so they've come on full time. Wonderful. Awesome to have them. Bottom left, that's Edding and Isa, and they are 3 children, Zach, Chito, and Nina. They're Brazilians, but they have their support from Germany. They've been working in camp ministry for 15 years now, full time. And so they're our successors. The 2 couples, the 2 families in the bottom are going to be our successors. Mm-hmm. Edding will be the executive director, and Charlize will be the administrative director. To take over, and we are so thankful. And they work together well. They work together as a team. And
you could not find 2 men that are more opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
incredible. But yet complement each other amazingly.
Yeah.
The top right, that's Bia. She's our secretary, media. Anyways, whatever you see online for Quest it's
let's
her.
Just say we couldn't live without her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Amazing young lady, and we're so thankful. She came on, also had just finished Bible college, and come on, and she wanted to do her internship with us, and just fell in love with full-time camp ministry, and just sees herself there long-term. Yeah. Awesome. And another couple now that have just moved to Schrader. They haven't started working full-time with us. They're still working on raising their support. Anna and Izaki, those are their names in the top left corner. They are just finishing off their Bible college degrees as well. And they just have a passion for people. They've both struggled with some substance abuse and things like that, and the troubles that brings, and so they just have such a heart to see people come to know the Lord.
Yeah.
So that's our team now, together with us, and I mean, it's awesome to work together with a big team.
Yeah.
So we just want to quickly give you an idea of what we do on a yearly basis, what a Quest year would look like. And so it's our year starts with our adventure camp called Journey. We put backpacks on our back, and
Let me just explain something. Your year, like January, starts with our summer camp, but in Quest, we always say that the year starts after summer camp. So our year starts in February. That's just explaining it.
We end with summer camp. That
Right.
kind of finishes off our year.
Yeah, although it's January, but
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
And so 5 days, everything on your back, and your tent, your food, it all. And
It's
we
for
walk
adults,
for
18.
adults, 18 and up, and awesome experience. For some, a little bit more scary. For some, well, I could do a whole lot more than this, but just a great time to be out in nature and discovering all kinds of stuff.
After that, we do English camp, which is what you're seeing here, hockey on the grass. As we look at these pictures, Scott and I see a lot of stories. You know, every person to us represents a story. I just wanted to note the man that you see in the middle wearing the blue baseball cap. He was a lot younger when he came to staff with us 2 camp seasons, and he was fantastic. But we sort of lost contact with him after that. He went off to study and so forth. But in the recent years, he, together with a partner, have started a huge IT company. And they have well over 100 employees now, and they have contracts with people around the world. And he needs his English language. And he can understand everything, but he's very, very shy to speak. And so he came to our English camp, which was an amazing experience. And we saw even over the weekend how he gained his confidence using his English. And so just a couple of weeks ago, Charlize sent us a message saying that he had made a substantial donation financially to Quest because of the help that we gave him with his English at English camp. And that's how we build partners, both supporters financially. He knows the Lord, but there are other people at this retreat that don't know the Lord, and we use English to share that through messages and song.
When an outspoken atheist, someone says, I don't believe in God, is singing, read your Bible, pray every day, it's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, true.
After that, we have family camp, and this was our first one this year. Actually, our second one. Our first one happened during COVID. We sent out boxes, and it was over Easter, so we called it Easter in Box, and it was an amazing experience to have. We had 12 families. This on site now this year, we had 8 families, and it was just a cool experience to see families together, and we did everything intergenerationally. We didn't have separate programs for the kids and for the adults, and just a great time together.
Yeah.
Oh, this was our men's retreat this year. And so this was kind of a culmination. This happened Saturday afternoon. We went on a little hike, a distance of about maybe 2 kilometers.
A little hike. I've done this.
A distance of about 2 kilometers, but probably height was about 600 meters. So it was a pretty good jaunt, and just a great experience for these guys to be together, to help each other. One of the men that's not in this picture didn't make it up. He struggled. He didn't have the energy to get up to the top. But anyways, at the top on a clear day, you can see the ocean from here, and it's just a beautiful view.
The man who's taking the selfie at the front, it was the first time that he had come to a men's retreat. He had been at family camp with us. But he brought a friend who's the second to the left standing at the top. He brought a friend who's not a believer with him. And they did this walk, which is treacherous, to say the least, because I have done this walk. It's crazy. But no one broke a bone. It was fantastic. They all got back. And then at our camp building, they played this game where they had to stand on like 6 inches of something, and this man fell off and broke his arm. I said, how is that even possible? But anyway, he had a great time and learned through it too. So, And then we do our father-son camp. Father-son camp and men's retreat, we interchange every second year. And this particular year, Scott decided to pipe in our 2 boys to do one of the sessions with him. As you can see, Mookie is laughing, so he's probably made some sort of comment. But it was really great to have Scott be able to share with the fathers and the sons a bit of his relationship with his boys.
And then we have our marriage retreat annually. Now we'll probably do 2.
Yeah.
And this year, this is a picture from this year's marriage retreat. And we talked about the fruit of the Spirit. That was the fruit of the Spirit in our marriage. And if we actually would live that out, what would that look like in our marriages? And we took not each fruit because it's the fruit of the Spirit, but each characteristic, and we used the Greek to describe it, to come back from. And so this game we called It's Greek to Me, and they put those spaces in and then they have to try to speak with those things in their mouths, and it was just a whole lot of fun for them. And of course, laughter was abundant.
Yes, of course.
And we have couples that come to our retreat that aren't married. They might be living together. We've had our culture there. It's a bit strange sometimes, but you know, we let them come. They're already living together, so it's not like being in a tent together is going to be any different. But we encourage, and we do not at any point ever pull back from speaking how God has created a man and a woman and created that institution of marriage to be what He has decided. And we see couples then getting married after this because they realize that where they are isn't what's supposed to be. It's not what God intended.
Yeah. Then we do our women's retreat, which is always an amazing experience. We do it in a small group format. So I have a team of volunteers. I have 1 woman at each table, and she is then responsible. It's not like they sleep together in a cabin group, but she's responsible for the care and the well-being of her 5 women that are on the table with her, and makes it a lot more intimate. Quest is not about big numbers at camp. We are about smaller numbers and about deep relationships. And so that's how we do it. And so we had a group this year that wrote us and asked us if we would consider doing it every year, because for their church it's been a big part of their women's ministry to come to the Quest Women's Retreat. So we will do that.
And then, of course, this is a mother-daughter retreat. So on opposite years, we do that. And we have, in the front right is two ladies, and the one on the right is the daughter, and the one on the left is the mother. So we have so the one on the right is, she just turned 40, so her mother's 60 plus. And then we have next to them a girl that's 8 and her mother there. So the whole gamut of ages. We've had ladies up to 70 plus years come as the mothers, and of course as young as 8. So it's just awesome to see that intergenerational relationship as well.
Yeah, the older mother in front here, she is not a believer yet, but she's come several times and we're getting close and the Lord is speaking to her, so it's beautiful. Yeah.
And of course then we have summer camp, the highlight of our year. And just so many, we have new people coming all the time, others that, can I send my kid? She's not quite 8 yet, but can I send? Oh, well, and then, well, my kid is 17, and the cutoff is 16, but, they don't really have a place to go, and, they can't fit into your LIT program, but, and so they want to be there all the time. And it's just fun. We try to be as creative and intentional as we can be to just reach kids. And it's not in a church. It's not in a building. It's not threatening. And so parents will send their kids to camp, not always send their kids to church. And so we feel that is such a great opportunity for us to be able to share the gospel. Mm-hmm. And so we just wanted to give you, with that, an overview of what we do throughout the year, where we've come from.
This is besides rentals. We do rentals a lot, so yeah.
Pretty much every weekend is filled with some form of program at Quest. And our team being as small as it is, we most of the time we're involved in at least 3 of the 4 weekends. We try to give weekends off if we can. And now with our team the size that it's more possible. It's more probable to be able to do that. So we just thank you for your time. And that was we could be talking here for hours. Really, we could. and just the opportunity to share with you a little bit about what we do and how things have grown in that regard. So thank you for your time this morning. That concludes our time here this morning. Can I just pray with you? And then we will end that off. Lord, thank you for your provisions. Thank you for who you are, for your timing. Lord, for just the control that you have in our lives. Lord, we ask that we would be very aware of that our hands would continually be open to give to you all that we have and to receive from you all that you have. And I thank you so much for the opportunity, Lord, for us to be able to share how you have worked in and through our lives and in and through each one that is here this morning in your own special way. And so, Lord, we ask that you would just bless our Sunday today as we celebrate Thanksgiving here, as we celebrate, Lord, all that you do, all that you are to us, and just to be grateful and thankful for that. And we pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.